So I guess the easiest way to say this is they're going to amputate my leg. Now I don't know why I'm not more depressed about it than I am. I probably will be as we get closer to the day. But it's a long story how I got here. It's been 21 years of dealing with my leg. Now at the age of 59, they're finally going to amputate it. I got cancer. It was a tumor in my leg called a myxoid liposarcoma in the left popliteal fossa posterior for you doctors, which means it's right behind the, well, a little higher than the knee, behind the knee, but a little higher in the thigh. I think it's a muscle tumor. It grows between the muscles. Very rare. One person in 20 million gets it. My understanding is that like 3% back in 1995, 3% survive it. And of those 3%, my understanding is none of them kept their legs. Now, I don't have the statistics, so I don't know for sure, but that was my understanding. So I actually was lucky. I got to keep my leg for 21 years. It became, because of all the radiation and the surgery, created a lot of scar tissue. And so 9 months after that surgery back in 1995, my leg became paralyzed. It started by going to sleep for about an hour, and I'd complain to the doctor that I was tingling all the time. And by the time 9 months rolled around, it tingled 24 hours a day. And then I was in Australia on a business trip, and in the middle of the night, I woke up, something was wrong, and my leg slowly became paralyzed over the course of 2 hours, and it started at just below my knee and worked its way down until it got to my toes, and then I couldn't wiggle my toes anymore. And so I flew back to the United States, and I had another surgery to cut away the scar tissue around the nerves, the peroneal nerve and the tibial nerve. And when I woke up, the first thing I said was, my foot hurts. The doctor said, that's okay, it'll go away in a few weeks. Here, take some Vicodin. So that's what I did, and here it is 21 years later, and it still hurts. So I've been dealing with chronic pain in my leg, plus it's been paralyzed. I never knew you could be paralyzed and in pain at the same time, but I was. So dealing with medications, opiates for 21 years, finally got a handle on it, and went to the Veterans Administration because I used to be in the Navy, and they treated me really well. They got me started on a new program back in, well, I guess this was 2004, on a methadone program, and then later on they added pregabalin, which is Lyrica. You see the commercials on TV. And between the methadone, which is 25 milligrams a day, and the Lyrica, my quality of life improved quite a bit. I mean, I still have pain, and I don't like taking the medication. It doesn't give me, it takes away my energy. I don't have the energy I used to have. So I started taking that, and I was able to deal with the pain. And I thought for the rest of my life I would have pain, but I would at least keep my leg. And I still kept busy. I mean, I rebuilt the roof on this house with my dead leg, just dragging it around. But then I got a small cut on my leg, and it festered and turned into gangrene. Went to Kaiser, because I was insured by Kaiser at the time. That was 2 years ago. They cut away the gangrene. The wound got a little larger, but then it started to get smaller. And then after about 1.5 years of it slowly getting smaller, it exploded and just grew. And now it's huge. It pretty much has taken over my whole calf, my whole lower leg, the front part. And it's, right now I have it bandaged with ACE wrap around it because to keep the moisture up above my knee so my body can absorb it, because it swells and just drips water right through the skin. You know, it's a long story. There's much more to tell, but that's really the short of it. And now, because there's no longer any blood supply, my arteries, I had a bypass done because the artery wasn't working, about 4 inches of my artery. So I had a bypass operation done, which was successful. So the 3 arteries going into my lower leg are working fine, but they did what's called an MRA. It's an MRI, but they introduce a contrast to it, and I think radio waves, and they can look at your blood vessels. And they took a MRI, took a picture of both my legs, and my right leg is all lit up with arteries working, going everywhere. And my left leg shows the 3 main arteries going into my leg, and then nothing coming off of it. So that's definitely why the wound exploded, is because there's no blood getting to the wound to heal it. So it's becoming larger. Well, actually, it stopped getting larger. It's like this big. You can't take a piece of paper and cover it. It's bigger than that. But it stopped getting larger, and it's just stopped completely. I take good care of it, but it's not getting smaller. And I've had all these tests done. Had a test done yesterday. They put a laser, it's called perfusion test. They put a laser on your skin, and it goes down like a couple millimeters, and it can sense the blood flow through your arteries just underneath the skin. And then I had a preliminary results. The doctor said I pretty much have a D- of blood going through my skin, which really says there's nothing else to do. I have one more test on June 6th. This is 2016. I have one more test on June 6th at the VA. We're going to do a biopsy of the wound to make sure, I guess, when you have a wound for a long time, it can become cancerous. So they want to do a biopsy, test it for that and a few other things. And once those results are in, I'm pretty sure that it's time to amputate. I've already been through 3 amputation boards, and they're not fun because you sit in a chair in the middle of this room, big room, with doctors, between 6 and 10 doctors with nurses, and they have one guy who's a double amputee. I guess he's there so you can ask questions. I've been through that 3 times, and they sit there, and in the third person they talk about, well, let's see where we're going to cut his leg off. And like I said, I don't know why I'm not more depressed than I am, because I'm losing my leg. But like I said, I might become depressed later. But right now, I'm dealing with it. I'm going to have one leg, and it's going to be amputation above the knee, because the skin just isn't good enough. The quality of the skin isn't good enough below the knee that it will heal. The advantage is that at Halloween I can be a pirate. The pain might go away. I might have phantom pain, but I might not, so I might not be in chronic pain anymore. And with a prosthetic device, I might not need to walk with a cane anymore. I might be able to go hiking like I used to, if it fits right. Only time will tell. So, I would say, if this were a book, this was my introduction. And we'll see what happens from here. And I'll try and document what I can, because I think it's interesting. I think other people might be interested. The VA is kind of a sad place. There's a lot of people there with no limbs, from IEDs. And I feel a little guilty because here I am, a vet, and I'll have one leg, and everybody will think that I have one leg because I got it blown up by an IED when I just had cancer. So I feel a little guilty about that, but we'll see where it goes from here. I'm trying to document as much as I can.